Today. Now, Good Things wants to encourage you to go on an adventure in Mississippi. So head on over to visitmississippi.org to find out more. And head on over to supertalktv.com. You'll see I'm not alone. I am joined in the studio by Stringer and Pete Griffin. They're with the Fifth Squad. And today is the first official Fifth Squad Day. So congratulations.
Yeah,
that's a big deal. Governor Tate Reeves signed it by proclamation, making July the 11th officially Fifth Squad Day. So that is pretty cool. Now, does July 11th mean anything, like have any meaning specifically?
So it does. Adam Austin was one of our first founding members of Fifth Squad back in 2016. Well, unfortunately, Adam passed away suddenly in 2020 with pulmonary embolism. He was one of the first four, like I said. And July 11th is his birthday. So today is Adam's birthday. So we thought it'd be nothing better than to have July 11th be Fifth Squad Day in honor of Adam and everything that Fifth Squad does.
That's pretty special. And you know you're up to some good things if you get a whole day dedicated to you and your cause. So let's go back to 2016, Lee. I know you were one of the four original as well who came together with this idea. And it hadn't always looked the way it looks today. So back then, what was you all's idea behind Fifth Squad?
So originally it was myself, Adam, Michael Collins, and Zach Moorhead, and we were all members of the same unit, the 184th, who is now in Monticello, used to be in Hattiesburg and Laurel at the time. But we were at drill one weekend, and one of us was getting promoted, one of us was getting deployed, and another one's going to another unit. And we just the military is built on camaraderie, a lot like law enforcement, fire department, things like that. So we didn't want to let that group get broken up because drill weekends were typically our weekends to hang out. So we said, hey, let's just start a guys club. And then we realized we couldn't do that once a month because our spouses weren't really going for just hanging out and drinking amongst each other and having drill. So we had to have a reason. We had to have a reason to get together. So we said, well, what's all of our passion? And all of our passion was helping fellow veterans. And then before long, it blew up, and we became a 501c3 in 2018. And since then, it has dramatically changed from just a group of hanging out to now we have a purpose, and it just continues to grow into what we have now.
Which is an amazing organization that's helping veterans statewide every day, usually at their worst moments. You swoop in and you help just like friends can do. So, Pete, when do you enter this story? When did you find Fifth Squad?
I've known Lee since our time on active duty, since about 2000. We deployed to Afghanistan together in 2002, and like you said, the camaraderie and friendships you build in the military last a lifetime. My wife and I discussed moving out of Massachusetts, and we discussed many places, and I've come to visit Lee down here in Mississippi multiple times, and I said, well, let's move to Mississippi. Give that a try. So we come down here. We've been here for 8 years. She did. And we've been here for 8 years. And once they formed the group, I mean, I wasn't in their unit, so he pretty much immediately told me, like, hey, we got this group of guys that are going to hang out and do guy stuff and everything. And, of course, I'm like, oh, heck yeah, I'm in. So I kind of came in shortly afterwards, and as we were sitting around, and we discussed an event that we did up in Massachusetts with some Massachusetts National Guard buddies, which has now evolved into our biggest event here, the Ruck for Rugrats, that we do for the Children's Hospital every year. This year on December 10th will be our 7th year doing it. So we started doing that, and then us being in the military and being leaders of soldiers, we had soldiers that have problems. And we, when a soldier comes to you and says, hey, look, I'm having this problem, can you help me out? As a leader, you want to have an answer for them. You want to help your soldiers. And there wasn't a lot of places that we could go, so we saw a definite need for people, not only current serving members, but veterans as well, as you try to navigate through the various veterans organizations and the VA. It gets very frustrating and time-consuming. So we saw a need for immediate assistance, and we kind of evolved into an organization that's able to provide that for people.
Lee, you mentioned like the VA, and there's a lot of other organizations that tend to help fill the gaps for veterans, but it feels like there's a lot of red tape that can come with that. So even if someone wanted to go through those types of chains of command or opportunities, it could be weeks, months, good Lord, probably years before they saw any return. How did you intentionally want to be different?
So that was one of the problems that we saw is if you need immediate assistance, it's very difficult, like you said, Rebecca. So the only thing we require is that the veterans served honorably. That's it. I don't need to know whether they were a pencil pusher or whether they were kicking indoors. They were a veteran, and they served their term. They served their time honorably. They contact us, whether it be through the VA, whether it be through many other organizations around the state, and they say, this is my need. And a lot of the times it's at the very last minute because they've tried to get help elsewhere, or either pride has kind of restricted them from requesting help until the very last minute. So the vast majority of requests that we receive are they've already received their 3-day eviction notice, or their lights are getting cut off this afternoon, or they have no more groceries in their house, all of those types of things. And we wanted to be able to help immediately. So we wanted to make sure we took away any kind of red tape. So you provide documentation that you are a veteran and that you served your time honorably, and then you provide your bill, and then we pay it. A lot of times we don't even have to talk to the veteran. We don't have to put them through any more humiliation of questioning them, because we're not a long-term assistance. We are that immediate Band-Aid to kind of just help you get back on your feet. And we just had a meeting earlier today with Think Web Store, who is off of Lake Harbor, and they're helping us design our website better so that now it's gonna make that request even easier for a veteran to just be able to get on FitSquad.com, go to contact us for help, and then as soon as we get that email, we'll be able to pay the bill. And I think our record is like 7.5 minutes of receiving the email and having the bill paid. And I don't know of another organization out there that's doing anything like that.
That's pretty quick. In fact, Jeff in Oxford texted in and said, yes, the VA system is very slow and can be frustrating, and been dealing with them this morning. Sorry, Jeff in Oxford. But I feel like that's a sentiment that many families feel for a variety of different things, whatever it may be that you're trying to reach. And, you're grateful that it's there, and, it's a system that has its own flaws. But you're also grateful to know that there are people who recognize the immediate sort of need. In the beginning, did you guys think, we'll just be doing one here and there, or did you know when you opened the floodgates that this thing would snowball?
Yeah, I think. Our what we've provided is raising funds through our great business partners, volunteers, and people who donate to us generously. We've pretty much doubled the assistance we've been able to give every year over the past 7 years. I think this year, so far, here it is just the middle of the year, we've done, 90 veterans and about $48,000 worth of assistance. So last year we did about half that amount in assistance, and then half before the year. So we're snowballing, and as word gets out, and as more people follow us on Facebook and become aware of our organization, they're not going to desperate means. They're coming to us, and we'll be able to assist them.
Is there anything set up where if you help pay the light bill this month, or you help with, the mortgage or the rent this month, that you make sure that they get resources after that, so they're not coming, back? Not that you would turn them away, but obviously to make sure that, hey, there's something. This is a smoking gun, right? We need to help them beyond what's here.
So we do. We partner with basically all the nonprofits, but not just the VA, but the Mississippi Army National Guard, the Mississippi Air National Guard, family programs. We have meetings multiple times a year with all the different organizations around the state of Mississippi that help veterans. And whenever they request the assistance, we help them with that, and then we also provide ways of not just getting more assistance, but also how they're going to be able to get back on their feet. And one of the things about Pete and I is we both have served. I'm still currently serving. Pete just retired, as I'm sure you know. The beard says so. But we're able to talk to veterans a little bit different than a civilian that has never served can talk to them. So I'm able to be a little bit more forward with them, saying, hey, the reason you're in this situation is because of this things that you're doing right here. So so far we've been successful with that. We, of course, have some veterans that don't agree with how we approach things, and I understand that. But we're a little bit more blunt with things, and I think that's the way we want to keep it, because we wear the uniform also, and we understand, and we can talk to each other. So we try to help them get back on their feet, and we have guidelines as far as how much assistance we can help and how many times we can help. So they know this isn't something that we're going to be able to just come back to the well anytime we need some help. We want to be able to give them that Band-Aid, give them that cross that bridge, and then let them, start getting back on their feet again.
Pete, to date, do you know how much money you've been able to provide veterans?
Oh, shoot. It's been over
Well, since 2018, it's been over $125,000. Roughly about 700 veterans total.
And that takes a lot of people, and we're going to dive into that and more with this squad coming up next. We're celebrating Good Thing here today. If you're over at supertalktv.com, you see I got two lovely gentlemen in the studio with me, and they're excited because Governor Tate Reeves signed, well, back on June 1st, but he signed a proclamation that today, July 11th, from this day, and I guess years forward, will be officially Fifth Squad Day for all the good things you guys are doing for veterans. And we were talking about in the break the number of potential helpees, I don't even know if that's a word, out there for you. So how many veterans are in Mississippi?
There's about 165,000 veterans currently living in
And that
Mississippi.
is always, I guess, sort of transit in terms of more that retire or they get to honorably discharge, the more that come in, and then the more that, whatever it sort of may be. So you got a large pool of people who potentially would need your help. I love that someone's listening to Good Things because, Lee, you said you just got a ding while we were sharing your story earlier about someone needing help.
Yes, ma'am. We just had a message just now while we were on earlier on our Facebook page about someone needing some assistance. So we responded back real quick, tell them what we need. So hopefully by the time we get off, we'll be able to help them out.
That's really cool and sort of real time. But when it's an emergency situation, it is real time for them. So you guys over the last, since 2016 or 2018, you mentioned you had given out over, I think, $100,000 in terms of aid for veterans. I mean, hearing the back, it's one thing to spout out those numbers, but those are people's lives. What are you hearing back from the families or the individuals of how this small act of kindness, although it sounds large, they're all individually smaller amounts, has impacted their life?
Yeah, we get a lot of good feedback from people. We actually had somebody that we helped out, and they came and volunteered and were part of our organization for a little while. And we helped them out when they needed it, and they realized what type of organization we are, and they were grateful for that. So they became more and more involved in what we do. So I think that's where a lot of our volunteers come from, and people that help out our events. We're always looking for volunteers, and they hear about what we do and see what we do, and they're thankful for it. They want to be a part of that, and they really want to make a difference like we do.
You guys started this to be able to hang out with your buddies and have fun. Who knew that you'd be event planners within a couple of years, hanging out with thousands of people across the state for different signature events? When did you guys, because I feel like the pressure would be, oh gosh, what if I do get a ding and there's not the money in the bank to sort of cover it? Because, even though it's small, amounts, whether it's a couple $100 for a light bill or $1,000 for a rent, that adds up. And so did y'all ever panic with or did money just sort of find its way to you guys when it was needed?
I think as our coffers get a little lower, the passion of our members kind of drives going out and doing things like Facebook fundraisers, pushing the sales on our website for T-shirts at fifthsquad.com, just setting up something where, reminding people to donate. And we have awesome, great business partnerships that are really key. And if we get low on money, then we think up an event. We try to be resourceful in ways that we can raise funds so that we don't have to turn somebody away.
It is. It's a lot of pressure, Rebecca. I'll be honest with you, because we don't have any paid staff. We are 100% nonprofit. So, for instance, one of the struggles is earlier in June, I had my annual training where I'm a first sergeant in the Mississippi Army National Guard. Pete was in Alaska dealing with his thing, and one of our other board members, leadership team, was doing his annual training as well. So we're getting calls, we're getting emails needing assistance, and it's very difficult then to be able to stop what you're doing to be able to meet that need. So that's a lot of pressure along with the financial portion of it too. But like Pete said, this organization, and you can ask anybody that has ever done anything with Fifth Squad or even talked to anybody, is more passionate about what we do than anybody that I've ever been a part of. The pride that we have in what we do is what keeps pushing us to say, all right, we know we have responsibilities. We know we have obligations to meet these needs of veterans that are needing some help that we've served with. So we're going to do whatever we have to do. That's why we have multiple events throughout the year. We sacrifice a lot of weekends. Our employers allow us to be able to do a lot of things with Fifth Squad too. So that's it's a group effort, obviously, and it's a lot of pressure. But it's the reward that we get from it is. You can't put a number on it.
And Pete, you guys you focus on the veterans that need assistance, but even your events go past that to just families in need. I know you mentioned one of your largest events was Rucks for Rugrats. Did I say it right?
Yep.
How did that come about?
So when I was up in Massachusetts, living up there in the Massachusetts National Guard, we had some toys left over from an event, and a couple guys, we just wanted to do some PT, some physical training, and we were in Boston, so we decided to bring them to the Children's Hospital, and from there it kind of grew, and it was something that I love to do, and so when we started to go into the charitable realm of things of our organization, I brought that up, and we started out, I think the first year we had like 27 people or 30 people that went from the USPFO in Flowood 9 miles down Lakeland Drive to the Children's Hospital. Last year was our 6th year, and we had about 600 people sign up, and we donated about $50,000 worth of toys. So this coming year, we're anticipating probably close to 1,000 people to participate in that event, and it's something that everybody can get behind. Kids in the hospital and families in need. Luckily, my daughter has had just a small procedure done at the Children's Hospital. The staff up there is amazing, and it was almost made me really thankful for what I had when I went up there for her small procedure. And you had parents up there that had shopping bags and sleeping bags and pillows because their child was undergoing some 9 or 10 hour procedure, and I don't even know if I could deal with that myself. But there are people up there doing this all the time, and they don't have the time to go out and shop for Christmas gifts. And we've been fortunate to partner with the Children's Hospital to where we can, give some type of, comfort and some type of normalcy to families up there.
The little bit difference is you can at least recognize that the families walking in and out of the Children's Museum obviously are in a time of need. A lot of time your veterans, there's no sign, there's no warning that they're going about their every day. They're full of, pride, their work ethic, and they don't want to ask. So when they will find an organization that they feel comfortable raising their hand and asking for, help with a bill or to bridge the gap between something, I feel like, there's a lot of us that are like, how do we help, right? Usually Mississippians, when you ask, they just, they're ready to go, but you just have to tell them sort of what to do. I know one of your other big events was this past Memorial Day. Y'all kicked something off big at Trustmark Park.
Oh, yeah. So the event was incredible. We partnered with the Mississippi Brave, with the 220th Special Forces Group, and Milwaukee Tool, who is one of our major supporters. And we had a baseball game with the Braves, and the players wore jerseys, but instead of the players' names, they had a name of one of the 26 fallen Mississippi National Guardsmen on their back. The Special Forces were involved. We had a C-17 flyover with 172nd Airborne, not Airborne, Air Wing. And, of course, Milwaukee Tools sponsored all of it. So that was the biggest day in Mississippi Braves history as far as attendance for any of their games. Yeah. It was just such an incredible day.
And we'll do it again. With the fireworks?
Oh, yeah. We had fireworks that day, too.
Yeah, I know, but
when you have the Special Forces coming out there on their cool guy trucks and driving all the way up to the home plate and throwing the ball to the umpire, it was just such an incredible day, and the Braves have already signed on, want to do it every year after that, and Milwaukee Tool obviously will be involved with it as well.
Well, that goes to show you that Mississippians back their veterans.
That's right.
And we all do. You're now a Mississippian. I feel like.
I like to think so, anyways.
We'll take you in for that. But it has to. You guys have to sit back and just sort of be in awe of where this has grown since 2016.
Yeah, I think it kind of hit us the day of the Memorial Day game when the place was packed. Lee and I, especially Lee, we worked long hours and time to coordinate the event and get everything going. I know Lee's was big stressing about it, and he was doing a lot of the behind the scenes work to make it happen. But when we were at the event, Lee and I just kind of looked at it, we were like we did this, we did it. You know what I mean? This is happening because of what our efforts are, and this is what we're going to be able to do because of it. And it was very rewarding, and we're looking to make it bigger and better every single year.
The best part was with the jerseys. I think that is the biggest thing for us. Yeah, we love doing the things that we do with this organization, but when we're able to honor our fallen that have come before us, and their families were there. So there were a lot of Gold Star families that were at the game. So for their family members to look out on the field and see their son or their father or their husband or spouse written on the back of that jersey, and then to be able to get that jersey after the game and take that home. That was the best part of the whole thing.
Their service wasn't forgotten.
That's right.
Exactly. And we hadn't forgotten, too. I want to know how the governor got involved and made today, July 11th, Fifth Squad Day. We've got that and more coming up next. You know, mentioning, Pete, that you came from Massachusetts, Boston, to Mississippi. I mean, I'm sure you love our winters, but how are you liking our summers?
Well, most places are air conditioned. It's not too bad. I try not to stay outside when it gets really hot and really humid.
Just like a true Mississippian.
Yeah. I mean, it's terrible. But I mean, what are you going to do about it?
The winters are still better.
Oh, absolutely. Like the 3 weeks of winter we actually have. Yeah, I'll take that over a Massachusetts winter of a blizzard.
So the ice storm of what, 2020? No, was it 2020? Was it this past year or was it the year before? The year before, they all start to sort of go together. You were probably like, No,
that ain't nothing. I ain't
you guys ain't got nothing. Okay, well, at least the summers are going to be special for you guys from here on out because Governor Tate Reeves did sign into proclamation. I'm going to be able to talk that today, July 11th, is officially Fifth Squad Day. So how did that come about? How did making this day officially Fifth Squad Day happen with the governor?
So I like to think friends. I'm friends with Senator Jason Barrett down there in Brookhaven, Lincoln County area. I spoke to him and I approached him. He knows about our organization. He knows what we do. And I just kind of said to him, I said, hey, this is something that I'd like to do, and this is why, to honor our friend Adam. And he said, yeah, type something up. I know somebody at the governor's office, and I'll see what I can do. So I got with Lee. Lee typed up a whole bunch of information and everything, sent it to him in an email, waited, and then a couple of weeks later, he was like, all right, here you go. And I was like, oh, are you kidding me? Like, this is real. Like, this is really happening for us right now that, we're going to have our Fifth Squad Day, and it's going to be on, we call him Bernie, but on Adam's birthday. Like, that's amazing. To me, it's still kind of surreal now, like, talking about it.
That you get to honor not only your friends, but also all of the veterans. We had someone text in and said, thank you for having this show today, having you guys on Good Things, because sometimes veterans feel lonely, lost, and often forgotten. And so this is just an organization and an opportunity to remind those that you're not. And even if you're not someone a veteran, or I would even say a veteran loved one who needs the gap to be filled, you could still get involved, because that was like in the beginning. Fifth Squad was all about giving you guys the opportunity to have the camaraderie that you sometimes miss when you're not together on missions or deployed or whatever it may be. So, I mean, it's still that way, right? Like, you'll still have the opportunities for people to come together and help.
Yeah. We're always looking for volunteers. We're always looking for people to help participate in events. We'll be at the Wildlife Extravaganza coming up, so you can come onto our table and talk to us, and we're looking for volunteers for events like that to come, and just when people come and ask questions. A lot of times we only have one or two guys that are there from our organization, and it's great to have volunteers so that we may be engaged with somebody and somebody comes up and they don't want to interrupt, and they may pass by and they may not know what we do and exactly how they can help out. So we want to have volunteers and people there that are just as passionate as us about doing this work there, so we can spread the gospel of Fifth Squad, as I like to say.
So we would love to have more veterans to come and be a part of it. Not just veterans, but civilians alike. I have a friend of mine that just texted me now and wanted you and Rhino to come do the ruck with us, because, in particularly, they want Rhino to come out and hang out afterwards when we go to Pig and Pint, Green Ghost, and all that, and partake in the camaraderie that we have after the event. So what's a little 4.5 mile walk?
Just a walk.
Just carrying toys for some kids and then enjoying some good times and camaraderie afterwards.
Well, we can't say no now.
Save the date.
You know what? The weather will be a whole lot better than it is right now. Right. So it does sound like a whole lot of fun, and something that would be something Rhino and I both, I think, we could be up for doing for sure. You talk about spreading the gospel of Fifth Squad. Mike from Grand Bay says, are there organizations, and that's Grand Bay, Alabama, like this in other states? Because it feels like, why hadn't somebody else thought of this?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that there aren't organizations like this or similar in other states. I just haven't heard of them.
There's not other Fifth Squads. There's only one.
Right. There's only one, and there's our goal. Our ultimate dream is to have a Fifth Squad chapter in every state that is there to assist veterans in those states. Because as you can imagine, resources vary state to state. I don't know what resources there are in Wyoming, but there are resources there. So if there was a 5th Squad chapter there, they could service the veterans in Wyoming. They would know what local resources they have and what challenges people face up there to better serve those veterans. So, I mean, 10 years from now, we would love to have 50 chapters of 5th Squad, and, you know, people can get with them in their state and utilize them and other resources in order to improve the lives of veterans.
Which I go back, and I say this all the time here on Good Things, when we have these incredible stories of how friends or just somebody has an idea and they just put it out there into the universe, and then they just allow it to sort of organically snowball the way it has. And I don't, you know, when you start to hear words organizations or spreading into multiple states, I mean, that's like big stuff, and it's heavy, and it's a lot of stress and anxiety. But it all started with just an idea to like fill the gap for fellow veterans who may need it. You had no idea that this is where you would have ended up. And I have a feeling that even if it would have never gotten to this big with a proclamation from the governor, you guys would still just be doing what you could with what funds you had for what veterans found their way to them. And that would have been great.
Right. Originally, that was the hope, that it was going to stay small, because I never thought that it was going to grow up to it. In fact, that was one of the things that Adam and I used to argue about all the time. His vision was to get to where we are now and further. You know, he wanted to continue to grow. It wasn't that we didn't want it to grow outside of Mississippi. Like Pete was saying, we want the veterans in each state to be taking care of their own, because they have a closer feel to it. But it keeps growing, and because so many people want to be involved. And a friend of ours, Matt Briggs, who is actually paddling up the Mississippi River right now in a canoe doing a whole nother thing, but he's a veteran himself. But one of the things he talks about 5th Squad is the full transparency, and I think that's why so many people. That's why we've been able to grow, is because people see what we do and they believe in it, because they see everything that we do. There's nothing to hide. We're not taking trips to Vegas and lobster dinners and giant shrimp prongs or whatever that was at one time. And you know, don't get me wrong, we'd love to get sponsored by Under Armour or Nike or something like that, but it hasn't happened yet. But,
yeah, so like you said, like we don't take salary. We're all volunteers. I have a full-time job. All of our members have full-time jobs, and we do this on top of our job and family obligations. And it's because we have a passion for what we're doing and making a difference in veterans' lives. And you know, and we've had messages from people that have said, you know, I was at the end. I had nowhere to go, and you guys literally saved my life, because I didn't know what I was going to do. You know, and it's unfortunate that veterans have to get to that point, or anybody in that matter. But you know, I'm happy we're there as a safety net for people to come to us and ask for assistance, and we can try to help them out. Like you said, Milwaukee Tool, we can't say enough about them. They're a huge support of our organization. If somebody is in the situation they're in because they're underemployed or unemployed, and we have business partners that, you know, we can refer them to and try to get them into employment. In order, because, like Lee said, we're a temporary fix. We're oftentimes a one-time thing, and when we speak to our veterans, we ask them, you know, what's the situation you're in and why? Because if it's an employment issue and we can get them employed, then we can solve their problem. You know, what are you going to do going forward? I mean, if somebody can't pay the rent, you know, for last month, and they're not going to be able to pay it next month, well, we don't have to worry about next month. We need to figure out what we can do to let them be self-reliant and not have to keep coming back.
And that's what a veteran wants anyway. I mean, they just want to be able to have that opportunity to get back on their feet, and then they're going to pay it forward. And I think that's exactly why this, with the 5th Squad, has sort of seen the growth over time, is when you've been helped, the next thing you want to do is sort of pay it forward. And then it just sort of, again, we use the word snowball a lot today, but I feel like that's really where it has sort of started there in 2016. Okay, Pete, you're good with all the rundown. Websites, Facebook, where does everybody go?
Yeah, so you can follow us on Facebook. 5th Squad is number 5, TH, and the word squad. You can follow us on 5thsquad.com if you want to go on there and make a donation, buy some shirts. You can set up a monthly donation. So if you want to, you know, skip that once a week mocha frappa latte sprinkle pixie dust drink for $6 and you want to do $6 a week or $10 a month, you can set up that automatic recurring donation on there. So Facebook is the best way to keep track of all of our events. We have a lot of events and things going on. That's the best way to keep track of us on Facebook, and you can contact us through fifthsquad.com. It's the number 5TH and the word squad, SQUAD. And you can go on there, purchase some items, show your pride and your support for Fifth Squad, walking around town with your fancy shirts, and we'll be happy to take your money.
Well, I think it's cool, and congratulations again that you guys have reached this moment with July 11th being Fifth Squad Day. I'm sure this is not our last conversation we'll have with you guys. But you guys stick with us. We got a few more good things for you coming up next.